Hey everyone, life and limb on the line on Capitol Hill this week as physicians and patients with a disease more prevalent and deadlier than most cancers combined, poor circulation in the legs known as peripheral artery disease. These patients were talking to Congress about early diagnosis and better treatment options for these patients. We're going to hear all about what was said. We have Dr. Bob Dahara here. We have PAD warrior Don Marie, and also legendary Harlem Globetrotter Larry Shorty Coleman, all who were on Capitol Hill pleading with these congressmen and women to help bring early testing for PAD to the masses. So this is going to be a great conversation. Dr. John, I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes without saying that the PAD, which it's estimated 230, 200 million folks worldwide have it, is certainly this kind of disease. And we talk about this all the time, right? It's the best or kind of stepchild. No one really, it's not super sexy, but it's there, right? And there's really high morbidity and mortality rate to it. Certainly underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed. We have folks on Save My Piggies all the time who have been misdiagnosed. And
Yeah.
I was just listening to one of our the CLI society. We had some cases yesterday, and it was yeah. We talk about cases, but we also talk about the fact that some patients just don't. They're not put in front of the right person to help them, and part of the advocacy I know that Bob was a part of is raising awareness, but it's also raising, in my opinion at least, raising awareness to our colleagues in the medical field and just the general population at large, which is why we do what we do. So I'm looking forward to the show, and as always, thanks for having me.
Fantastic. So should we kick off with a moment of inspiration?
I reckon.
Dr. John Phillips' spectacular vascular moment of inspiration.
So this is a simple one. It's from a politician, Abraham Lincoln, one of our great presidents. And I was just trying to find something about not giving up and always kind of quote moving forward. And he's quoted as saying, "I am a slow walker, but I never walk back." So there you go. We got folks walking up on Capitol Hill, trying to walk forward, and maybe they made
Yeah.
some small steps, big steps, who knows? And Bob will let us know, and the team will let us know. But at least I think they were walking forward.
Oh, I think so. What do you think? Dr. Tahara, we took a few
Welcome.
steps forward this week, right?
I think so. I think sometimes some of these activities get a little bit overshadowed by some of the other kind of political machinations that are going on in DC. And certainly a lot of the oxygen got sucked out of the room by some of the other hearings that were going on. But I do believe that particularly the stories that Don Marie and Shorty brought to the congressional staff and the members was pretty powerful. And I think that we had a great panel up there. We had a lot of different societies represented, and I think we were able to get some information across in a relatively short period of time. And that's great. It gives you that awareness. And it's one more step in a lot of the hard work that we do behind the scenes, meeting with the staff and the members individually, and really trying to keep moving the sticks here so we can save more legs.
Hey,
So
Bob,
what
can
was
you
the
just? Oh,
purpose? Yeah, I
yeah,
was
go
just
ahead. I
gonna,
was just going
I
to say,
think
give
we're
us your
gonna,
background a little bit, and then tell
exactly.
us like how you got involved with this, because it's super important for
Sure.
the audience to know.
So as some of the folks here, a lot of folks here who do know me know, so I've been a rural practice vascular surgeon my entire career. When I got done with my training, I came out to an underserved area in Western Pennsylvania, and I've parked here. Part of that was selfish. I'm an outdoors guy. I like to hunt, fish, and shoot. But part of it was being able to make a difference, and that's really what kept me in the area providing clinical care. The federal government publishes a heat map on amputation density. And when I came to McKean County, we had the darkest or the most dense rate of amputations that they listed. After I was here for 5 or 6 years, that went down one full interval. And after the latest release, it was down another full interval. And
Wow.
really, that's because of the revascularization efforts that we make locally, which really accounts for the three-man group that I'm part of, me, myself, and I, in terms of trying to make this stuff happen. I got very involved with the Outpatient Endovascular and Interventional Society when it was formed because it struck me that this was the way we could get better access as things were consolidating vertically into healthcare systems. And the last 10, 12 years, I've just taken a progressively bigger role in trying to bring some of this clinical reality of underserved areas and populations to bear with both CMS and the Congress. So that's kind of how I've gotten involved in it.
And so there was this PAD caucus for a long time. It was together. They were trying to push what was called the ARC Act, right? Which would require insurance companies to cover early testing for people at high risk of PAD, and hopefully also require a vascular assessment of everyone on deck for amputation prior to the amputation. Where are we at? Was that part of the initiative this week on Capitol Hill? Was that part of the effort?
Yeah, it was one of the asks. I mean, the Amputation Reduction Act, or the ARC Act, if you will, really had some good pieces put into it. And one of the biggest ones was actually to mandate some degree of vascular evaluation before a non-traumatic amputation was performed, or else the hospital simply wouldn't get paid for it. And again, sometimes a lot of folks misunderstand the economics of healthcare. It's really got almost nothing to do with what a physician gets paid, because it's such a tiny fraction of the overall thing. And most policy ends up being derived because of the facility payments. So the ARC Act really had a great opportunity. Unfortunately, the PAD caucus, one of the true champions, Don Payne, passed away. And there were some other issues, and now it's being reconstituted again in a bipartisan fashion, because saving limbs, and I don't care whether it's a so-called Black inner city population or a white rural population or whatever, saving limbs is not a partisan issue. So it's really nice to see this PAD caucus come together, and the ARC Act was one of the asks that we had for action after we had presented the information and the stories that we had presented.
So Bob,
Go ahead.
sorry, I was curious, for those of us that are listening and don't understand what it takes to, quote, get in front of Congress, walk us through how you do that, and for physicians that are listening out there, whether it's vascular or whatever, who might have an interest in trying to get involved with this, how can they do that?
So I would very broadly stratify this, is you've got 3 avenues to try and get involved. And I really would actively encourage any patient or any physician out there listening or viewing the stream to get involved on all 3 of those levels. So the first and the most immediate level is simply to contact your local federal legislator. They are very attuned to constituent issues. And again, regardless of where you sit on the political spectrum, our representatives are supposed to be working for us. So as a constituent, you not only have a right, but in my view, if you're a physician, you have a degree of duty to try and advocate for rational policies to provide for healthcare for the types of things that you take care of. So in the limb salvage world, that would be screening and diagnosis, and the ability to get coverage for primary care preventive interventions, things like diabetic foot exams and diabetes management and screening type diagnostics for populations at risk. And also to get the treatments, because, this is, to use the old baseball analogy, right? It's a simple game. You throw the ball, you catch the ball, you hit the ball, right? So if we make the diagnosis, if we throw the ball, if we actually catch the ball and we're able to start doing some preventative care maintenance, we still have to be able to hit the ball and actually treat the patients who are at risk of limb loss. So you can get involved with that very easily as for constituency, just being a constituent. The second level of
is we're going to leave that as a
Sure.
cliffhanger, and we're going to tell you the number 2 and the number 3 when we come back right here on the Heart of Innovation on KDOW. Stay with us.
How many procedures are you willing to go through? Is it worth going through that many, or would you rather just?
That's funny. Was it worth it? Oh yeah, I have my leg, man.
Amputation should absolutely, positively, 100% never be a first-line treatment.
What an incredible operation. What an incredible lab you have here.
Without a doubt, we're underdiagnosing peripheral arterial disease. It has not gotten the attention that it should, because it is a killing disease, it is a disabling disease, and most importantly, it's a disease that we now have great treatments for.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
They were going to amputate it, and I needed to consult with my family. Did I want it off here or here? You're just shocked. It's scary. I don't even know how to explain it. You're 42 years old.
We're waiting till people are at the end of the spectrum and almost beyond hope. There is good care available here. Closed minds are what we have to get rid of.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Saturday. Thanks for joining us. We are live on KDOW. We are talking patient advocacy and getting in front of our elected officials to raise awareness for, among other things, PAD. So prior to going to break, keeping with the baseball theme there, Kim threw me a softball with respect to a tease. Bob, you had kind of given us one of the three avenues to get involved, one of which is contacting your local congressperson. But the other two, as we were talking during the break, are a lot more important, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, I mean, being a constituent is really critically important, but it's not a force multiplier. What a force multiplier is, so now you're fielding the whole team on the field. You're not just throwing the ball back and forth in practice, is getting involved with formal advocacy. And that also is unfortunately linked to funding this, right? So there are political action committees, which in some fronts become a dirty word sometimes in the modern press. You know, people always talk about how terrible special interest groups are. But the reality is they're necessary. And you know, if you take patients like Don Marie and Shorty, who's advocating for them besides the docs who are actually taking care of the cases, and organizations like what Kim runs with the Global PAD Foundation? I mean, you really have a limited number of people who are doing this. So political action committees become important. And again, like it or not, we have, as physicians, have tended to not get involved in the funding mechanisms. So we've been left behind oftentimes in advocacy, whether it's for making sure that we've got stable reimbursement patterns so that we can treat these patients, or whether they actually get funded for these different screening and primary care initiatives. And if you look at maybe the other industries, the legal industry, the defense industry, manufacturing industry, I'm not casting aspersion on any of them, but they've been far more effective because they're far more willing to contribute money to those causes.
And we have some of the patients that are actually here. We have Shorty and we have Don Marie. I want to bring in Larry Shorty Coleman, legendary Harlem Globetrotter. So excited to have you. And this is Dr. John. You won't believe that this is the 100-year anniversary of the Harlem Globetrotters. So it's actually a really special year. And so thankful to have Shorty here. Shorty, tell us about your experience on Capitol Hill.
Yes, good afternoon once again. And happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's.
Yes, Capitol Hill was a thrill for me because that's my hometown. Believe it or not, I got away from the cold weather. I'm glad we was indoor doing it. First of all, I'd like to just say that, Don, you did a great job. I learned some valuable things from listening to you as well as many of the doctors on the panel. However, I could tell we had moved the people in the seats that was there, because it was almost to the point like they was paralyzed to the fact, whoa, could this be me next? I got that kind of feeling. But for me, it's not going to help me because my leg is gone. But if we can help the next 1,000 individuals to understand, go get checked, go get screened. You know, we have primaries. You tell a primary doctor, oh, I have a pain in my leg. He or she might take you serious and send you somewhere to get help. But as a patient, Larry Shorty Coleman chose to go to the emergency. That wasn't the greatest advice for me to go to the emergency. I was better off contacting a vascular doctor or specialist that Kim refers me to now that PAD is in my good leg, so to speak. There's no easy way out of this, and I would just like for the people listening, don't take for granted it's just a cramp. Because I've played since I was 11 years old the sport of basketball. If you're in shape, you don't get cramps. You get either a torn ligament or you pull a hamstring of that nature. However, I would have never dreamed that I would lose my limb. But now that we're in position to be on Capitol Hill is the greatest thrill. Somebody in that room is definitely going to want to move forward with us with this, but we do have to do more. That's one event. One event doesn't open up the can of worms that's going on. But I'm so glad we had the opportunity to share it. And I don't want to take up all you guys' time.
No.
Because I've lost my,
You're doing great, Shorty.
My temptation voice because of catching a cold. But however, I wouldn't miss this for nothing in the world. So if you have any questions for me, I can tell you. I just got multiple calls from family members, friends who have lost both limbs, lost 10 toes, and a friend that I played high school basketball with slipped on ice, and the doctor told him, we have to amputate your leg. How ironic is that? So just to give you a little scenario on it,
Shorty,
we got a lot to work on.
Shorty, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Good to hear your voice again, my friend. Can you just share with our listeners what it's like to, sit in front of our legislative officials? Because, a lot of us, I think, in our minds have a vision of, a camera, and you're sitting against that, you're on that table, and the microphones are in front of you, and they're asking you questions. Is it truly like that, or were you able just to kind of give was it an open forum?
For me, they made me feel very comfortable. It paid off to have individuals that were so smart to know that didn't have limbs lost, to understand, to give us the time to speak on it. And I'm not intimidated because of the fact that's why you go to school, to get up in front of a class. But when you have to get up and speak about a health issue, and I'm willing to help other people, it made it easy for me.
And Shorty, for you, you were saying that you played basketball all your life. You're very active. One of the messages that you wanted to send to Congress was, this is not a lazy person's disease, right?
No, it's not. And it's not African-American disease. It's a nationwide disease for any human that's not eating right, smoking and drinking. We can't just pass that off on the black race, because anybody can lose a limb.
Yep, but here you were someone who was very active. You thought you were eating right, but you ended up with some genes, having some diabetes and other cardiovascular and vascular issues that were in your genetics. And despite all your efforts to stay out healthy, eat right, and be active, you still ended up with PAD.
And believe it or not, Kim, you would think I've been around the world. I had a chance to eat great food in each country. How ironic is it that what's good and what's bad? But I know from the African-American side of it, my mother and them ate greasy food, drank liquor and beer every weekend.
Oh, wow.
If I didn't get paid to bring them this, go in the room. Well, I don't want to go in the room because I want to be nosy. So I do as they say. But chicken, potato salad, a sweet potato pie, apple pie, and they smoking like crazy. I said, woo-wee. I only knew this when I got older. But it's a dangerous thing, man. All I can say is I hope from Capitol Hill, not too many people raise their hand to say that they have family members that lost a limb. But I can express to you, without Global PAD Association, a lot of us would be dead right now. I hate to say that, but that's very true.
Yeah. We fight every day.
Each one of our voices is very powerful to the people out there listening. Don't take it like we just blowing smoke.
Nope. Hopefully they'll take you seriously. We appreciate you so much, Larry Shorty Coleman, for raising the voice of the patient on Capitol Hill.
Anytime.
Thank you so much.
We're going to definitely have to get together again, and I hope and pray that we can have a amputee marathon. For those that's able to walk. Those that's in a wheelchair, cross the line and at least stand up out of your wheelchair. That's my wish.
Hey, Dr. Tahara and Dr. Phillips, let's make that happen, okay?
All right.
Well, coming up next right here on the Heart of Innovation, we're going to hear from Dawn Marie, also a PAD warrior who spoke on Capitol Hill. We're going to hear her story next right here on the Heart of Innovation on KDOW. Don't go away.
Your type of condition is called critical limb ischemia. It's the most advanced form of PAD or peripheral arterial disease.
Every 4 minutes, there is an amputation in this country due to PAD and diabetes. We also know that 85% of these amputations are preventable with early intervention.
It's a flip of the coin. Patient prognosis is tied to whether or not they are referred to a true expert in the management of peripheral arterial disease.
Do you know if your physician is an experienced CLI operator?
When you're in the hospital dealing with doctors and stuff, you figure they know what they're talking about.
The skill level varies doctor from doctor and hospital to hospital.
Patients with limb threat are in constant fear. The depression that someone experiences after they lose a limb is equivalent to those of losing their spouse of 40 years.
I was stuck in a wheelchair close to 2 years and my husband had to quit work.
I didn't know what to do at this point because we had nothing but infections and hospital stays and infections and hospital stays.
And they took one toe, another toe, and then it was another toe, and then half his foot before he was even diagnosed with PAD.
And all I heard was, "What are we doing here? Just cut it off." And I pulled the curtain back like, "Are you kidding me?"
Do you really want to go through all that?
That's crazy. That's insane. The protocol is to send them to amputation. Always, always, always get multiple opinions.
We do have options.
We need to listen more to our patients.
If you're going to chop off their leg anyway, why not just let someone else try?
This is the progression. First comes the wounds, and then comes an amputation. And I wasn't going to accept that.
So that's what it's like to try to save a leg.
Thanks for hanging with us today. Let's continue the conversation. Dawn Marie, you were on Capitol Hill. You want folks' piggies saved, and you're a PAD advocate warrior. So tell us how that went. You said you only had 5 minutes to share your story, but it's my understanding you made an impact.
Yeah, I will say that as I was looking at everybody while I was talking, I did see that pretty much everybody in the room was engaged when me and Shorty were talking. Sometimes, the hardcore facts that they were representing at the beginning, may catch some people, but I could see that once we talked, like I said, the truth. It's the true reality of what we face every day as an amputee. None of it's made up. None of it's exaggerated. It's the cold truth. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes, people don't want to hear the truth. And I get that. I really do. But, sometimes it takes knowing the truth. It takes education to help your own self out sometimes. And like I told everybody there, anybody in this room can lose a leg at any. You could go right outside right now and get hit by a car and then have to live your life without a leg. So it's not everybody. Like disease doesn't discriminate, so it can happen. They say, yes, it happens more with people of color, or it can happen more with men or with women. But I feel like nowadays, any type of disease can strike anybody at any age. My daughter's 10, has lipoprotein little a, something you don't see in children. Well, there you go. She has it. So, things need to change. And I feel like that's with anything, not just with PAD, with any type of diagnosis of any disease. It should be, we should all have the right to be able to diagnose it early and get the best care we can. And I feel like as a whole country, if we're represented as the United States of America, all the laws should be the same. All the knowledge should be on the same point. Like I did show them that I traveled from Virginia to Boston to get my care because Virginia is now just testing for PAD. I lost my leg 5 years ago. So why are you now just testing for PAD? I mean, everything I said in my speech that I shared with everybody previous to this was pretty much every point I got out there. I wanted to give them questions, because what I wanted them to go home is when they go home at night, they're going to remember me. They're going to remember Shorty. They're going to think about everybody else that walks around, like I say, roll around, because I was rolling around Capitol Hill. I wasn't walking around Capitol Hill. So when you were saying it earlier, I was giggling because I was correcting you behind the scenes. We rolled into Capitol Hill. So we rolled up there proudly. I think we did a great job. And like I said, we made an impact on the people that were in there. I can't say who the people were that we were supposed to be impacting. That was unclear to me because I've never been to one of those before. But I basically gave them the questions on these thoughts. Like, when you go home today, I want you to be able to, when you go home and you leave from this building, even the access, there's still snow on the ground. Like, I want you to think about how you go out and get to your car versus how I have to get out to my car. And I explained to them like that I crawl on the ground like an insect, because if I can't do something in my wheelchair, nor verse can I do something hopping safely with my walker, I will get down on the ground and I will crawl. Now, coming to crawling comes to take the ways to learn how to crawl. Like on the ground, I wear a trash bag so my clothes don't get wet. But I tried to explain them to, like, most of the things you do in life with your two legs is by instinct. You just go and you do it. Everything I have to do is either learned through rehab or learned through personal trial and error. And sometimes that takes pain because you fall. Like, being an amputee is not easy, but I wanted them to go home with everything I said. I want you to think about it when you go and take your child to the park. I asked, how many in here have children? Like, when you take your child to the park tomorrow when the nice weather comes along and they say, Dad, Mom, can you push me in the swing? You walk right over there and push them. Well, I can't, because if there's wood chips on the ground, barriers, there's going to the beach. We used to go all the time, all summer long, to the beach. I can't do that anymore unless I have someone to pull me on a blanket down the sand. And then if my kids want to go in the water, do you think I want them in the ocean by themselves? Where Mommy, who used to swim like a Olympian, can no longer jump in that water and save you because I can't even get down to the water on my own. Like, there are so many things in life that is now trial and error. It doesn't come just with instinct anymore.
30 seconds left, and I just wanted you to and one of the things they might be asking is, well, it's been 6 years since more than 5 years since you've had an amputation. There are a lot of
Almost
doctors
5.
that think that you're going to get a prosthetic, like, no big deal. You're going to get a prosthetic the moment you have the amputation. Within a year, you'll be walking like no problem. You're young.
I did say that. I said that to them. Stop promising. If you're a physician or a surgeon, stop giving the false hopes of walking within the first year, because I'm almost 5 and I still don't walk.
Well, coming up next right here on The Heart of Innovation, we're going to hear more from Donna Marie. She has more to tell. So stay with us right here on KDOW. Don't go away.
Do your legs hurt when you walk? Do you feel cramping or numbness that makes you stop and rest? This could be more than just getting older. It could be peripheral artery disease, also called PAD. PAD happens when arteries in your legs become clogged, limiting blood flow. And when blood can't flow, your health is at risk. PAD affects millions worldwide. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or if you smoke or have a history of smoking, you are at higher risk. Symptoms may include leg pain when walking, slow healing wounds, or numbness in your feet. Some people don't even notice symptoms at all until it's too late. PAD is serious. It can lead to amputation, heart attack, and stroke. But the good news, PAD can be treated if caught early. Talk to your doctor. Ask about a simple PAD screening test. Protect your legs. Protect your life. Every step matters. Walk strong. Live long. Get screened for PAD now. For more information, go to padhelp.org or call the Leg Saver hotline at 1-833-PAD-LEGS.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. As we reflect on this show, I think it goes without saying the gratitude that I have for the folks that are brave enough to speak to Congress regarding their disease process as it pertains to peripheral arterial disease. And nobody is more worthy than Dawn Marie, who's lost her leg. But, we were just talking during the break about the high mortality rate after a major amputation. You beat those odds, and you were saying, I don't have a choice. Like, I have a purpose in life and I have to keep fighting. Is that some words that you shared with our elected officials when you were on Capitol Hill?
I did. I because you have such a short period of time to talk, Like I wanted to get the major points out. So I did say that. I said that, the surgeon took my leg. He didn't take my responsibility. I still had kids to go to. Like I could have went into the extreme. I have 6 dogs, 6 chickens. Like those are all things that depend upon me. My 10-year-old is also intellectually disabled. So she takes up a lot of my time with trying to get her from, she's now supposed to be in 5th grade, is on a 1st grade level. So I'm trying to fight legislature with that because we still have to follow the laws for the grade she's supposed to be in with the education she's getting. So and that's why I said, there's so many things to fight for out there. But we need more people like me. I can't be the only one. Shorty can't be the only one. We need help. And I feel like the more voices, even if you can't come, like the next time that I go to Capitol Hill, I would like to go with a stack of letters from other patients or something to show like I'm not the only one out there. Because they could look at me and be like, well, I'm sorry, but a lot of them in there look like sophisticated, had a lot of money. I'm coming in with tattoos, nose piercings. I made it show that I do have a college education. I'm just as educated as them. And I wanted to show that I'm not just some,
You worked in an operating room. You worked in an operating room.
But right now, I am in that lower bracket. I am now in that the poor bracket where these are the people that aren't getting the care either, because of where they live in the areas. I'm not even in the rural area of Virginia, and I still can't get great care. I'm not saying there are not great doctors, but where are they? Where are they? You have to travel, and not everybody has that access. I wanted them to see me, with my nose piercing. I came in there with it proudly. I don't care if they saw my tattoos, because no matter what I am, and that's what I wanted them to see, no matter what color skin Shorty's skin is, whether he's a male or I'm a female. Maybe none of you, like Shorty said, we asked, does anybody else have any amputees in their family? Not one person or knew anybody could raise their hand. So you don't know what we're relating to. And I made sure that they never say I understand. When you're talking to me, you don't understand. You will never know what someone else is going through until you're facing that same thing, whether it's cancer, whether it's diabetes, heart problems. You don't know. You just have to listen and be educated. And that's what I wanted people to hear. Like I said, again, it's the cold truth, the truth facts. After seeing what my speech did and how many views that speech got on Facebook and how many shares, I'm almost determined to do a TikTok video to have somebody follow me around my house and everything I do with the camera so I could show you how it is. Because I can tell you all I want. I can sit here and read this thing I said like I did the other day and say how it is. But I really think it takes me to go there and tell you the raw truth of how it is for me. Like I said, I pee myself. I told him my boyfriend has to come home from two jobs to take care of us. And if I have the flu and vomited on myself or, had the other fluids come out another way, he has to help clean me. Because I can't do it by myself as an amputee. I can't go sit down on back on the chair that's going to get dirty that I got to sit on all day long. Like I said, somebody has to be out there to say the actual truth. And that's me. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because this is what I go through. You could say, I'm embarrassed to say, but why should I? I'm not embarrassed to who I am. I'm a person with no leg, and this is what I go through. This is the battles that I face, and I'm sure a lot of other people face the same things. Without a leg, or even with 2 legs, with this disease. Because I know how it was before I lost my leg. I couldn't walk. I had to sit on the floor, like I said in my speech, and cry in public at 45 years old back then. 44 years old, it's embarrassing. It's degrading to have to sit on the floor. Now I don't care. I'll sit on the floor and crawl like an insect. And I said that many times to them.
With as many times that you sat on the floor, no one ever cared about your leg cramps. Even after you had a heart attack, they didn't care about your leg cramps. What if Congress would have acted sooner and said everyone at high risk, which would have included you, would have been tested for PAD? How would your life be different? Yeah, I can see you nodding.
I wouldn't have to do all those things I say, right? I would be doing everything everyone else does.
Thank you so much, Dawn Marie. You just inspire me every day. I appreciate you so much. Coming up next, right here on the Heart of Innovation, we will have more on this topic and some closing thoughts. So don't go away. Stay right here on KDOW.
When your sugar runs high, it's more than a sign. Diabetes creeping in, it's a dangerous line. Pre-diabetes too, don't think it's too light. It can lead to PAT, so start the fight. Sugar's sweet, but the cost is real. High blood sugar makes your arteries feel clogged. Slow flow, it's a ticking time bomb. Catch it early, stay strong, and keep your legs on. Sugar's not so sweet when your leg is in pain. Not controlling sugar is where peripheral artery disease sets in. Got sugar? Get checked. Don't wait too late. Save your legs, save your life. Take control of your fate. Leg pain, cold feet, neuropathy too. These are signs diabetes caught you. High sugar's the link where circulation and pain left untreated. Your leg might end inflamed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we only have about 4 minutes left in this powerful show. I want to introduce and bring Dr. Andrew Klein on the air. Dr. Klein, you too were on Capitol Hill, but also just right now, I think, finished helping a patient, maybe saving some piggies. So welcome, and give us your thoughts of how you think the caucus went.
I think, thanks, John. I appreciate it. I think any opportunity to be in Congress is a good opportunity, mainly to raise awareness. I think, as we know, as I said during my talk, probably a third of Congress have PAD and don't even know it. And so I think anytime we can get, in their heads and at least on their platform, it's a good opportunity. And thank you to everyone, Dr. Tapara and the whole crew for coming up there. It's obviously it's a challenge, but I think the biggest thing was listening to Dawn Marie and Shorty. That's just, it's incredible to hear their stories and hear what they have to endure every day. And it's partly why I'm here.
Do you think that it resonated with them, or were they giving you lip service like we often sometimes feel that they do?
No, I think it did resonate with them. I think, the Congresswoman who spoke was, she was very well briefed on PAD, and I was quite impressed with her staffers and everything. I think they really made an impact. And at the end of the day, it's just being consistent and consistently showing up. That's going to be what's important. I think together as a coalition and as a large group that believe very passionately about this, we can go a long distance. We just need to keep showing up and keep working on this and understand that there are all these issues that are in this field. And it's not a rare, as somebody put up the slide, as we showed, our death rates from PAD are equal to that of cancer in a lot of ways, colon cancer, breast cancer, et cetera. So I think it's really important to understand that this is more prevalent than people think, and it really can absolutely ruin or take their lives.
It's incredible that you guys took time out of your schedules to go out there and raise the voice of these patients, because that's really what you're doing. It shows how much you care about people, right? Patients are people. When you closed up, share with us the closing thoughts. What was the message, and did you talk about next steps?
So I think, Wayne Batchelor from Association of Black Cardiologists really closed it up nicely. I have to say, he really did a nice job of wrapping it up and really looking at, again, the PAD caucus, ensuring that other members of Congress join that, and that, at the same respect that we also move to the Amputation Reduction and Compassion Act. That's going to be the critical thing, because we need to get that through Congress so that we can really make an impact in more patients.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Klein, Dr. Tahara, Dawn Marie, and Larry Shorty Coleman. Thank you, thank you, thank you for raising the voice of patients and for all of your courage speaking on Capitol Hill this week. Make sure you join us on YouTube right now. If you're listening on KDOW, youtube.com/the @ the weight of my heart. We're going to continue the conversation and hopefully create the change that we all want to see.